Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's get right into it. Today we're uncovering 5 undocumented secrets for Claude Code that can seriously save you money, boost your performance, and just help you build much, much better applications. You know, the source material for this explainer makes a really bold promise. It says if you stick with us through these tips, you'll be using Claude Code better than 99% of people. That's a huge claim, right? So let's see if these secrets can actually deliver. So first things first. Any master developer will tell you, you gotta optimize your environment for cost and for focus before you even think about writing a single line of code. So that's exactly where we're gonna start. Now, every single Claude Code user runs into this problem. It's this core dilemma, right? Do you go with Opus, the best, highest quality model, and just watch your credits burn away? Or do you pick the much cheaper Sonnet model and, maybe risk getting lower quality outputs? It's a constant, frustrating trade-off. But what if I told you you don't have to choose anymore? There's a new, basically undocumented mode that gives you the absolute best of both worlds. You just type /model, and then you select option number 4, Opus Plan Mode. And here's the genius of it. This feature uses the super powerful, super expensive Opus model for the high-level planning part, and then it automatically switches to the efficient, way cheaper Sonnet model for the actual code writing. So you get the same amazing results as if you were using Opus the whole time, but you save a ton of credits. It's a no-brainer.
Okay, next up, let's talk about focus. Honestly, Claude is so good, it can actually be a distraction. You find yourself just kind of doom scrolling while it does its thing. Well, to fix that, there's a brand new tool called the Custom Status Line, and it is an incredibly powerful way to keep yourself on track.
You can customize this status line with all sorts of useful info. Now, according to our source, the 2 most important things to add are 1, the current model you're using, so you can always keep an eye on your credit usage, and 2, your current GitHub branch. This one is a huge help for preventing that awful moment when you realize you've committed code to the wrong place. But you can also add other cool stuff, like a Pomodoro timer or even the local weather. And this just brilliantly shows you how flexible this feature really is. I mean, you can add genuinely helpful productivity tools, or if you really want to, you can literally add a digital pet that you have to feed and take care of. It totally changes the whole experience and honestly makes it a lot more fun. All right, so our environment is optimized. Let's move into the core of the workflow. Next up, how you can give Claude way smarter context and completely automate your code security. So the old way of giving Claude context rules was, well, kind of clunky. You just dumped everything into one big claude.md file in your root directory. And yeah, it worked, but it clogged up your context window with a ton of information you didn't need, which could actually make your outputs worse. The new way? It's much, much more intelligent. Okay, this is huge. You can now create separate claude.md rule files inside of specific project directories. This means Claude only gets this hyper-focused context exactly when it's working on that specific piece of your app, without all the extra noise from everywhere else. And you know what the best part is? You don't even have to write these little rule files yourself. Just ask Claude to do it. In one example, it generated 100 lines of super detailed rules in just 3 seconds. That's a massive time saver. Look, as we rely more and more on AI to write our code, a really important question comes up. How do we make sure that code is actually secure? I mean, it's so easy to make mistakes, from leaking API keys to creating front-end vulnerabilities. Well, turns out Claude now has a built-in security agent that makes this incredibly simple. You just type /security review and hit enter. That is literally it. And this is not some quick, superficial check. No. This thing performs a full deep dive review of your entire application. It searches your whole code base, it checks all the changes in your GitHub, and it identifies potential vulnerabilities. It even double checks its own work to cut down on false positives. The recommendation is to run this every single time before you push code to production. And finally, let's look at the real game changer. This is an advanced technique for execution that just fundamentally changes your entire workflow, and for the better. So you know how it used to be. You'd ask Claude to run a long process, like starting up a development server, and it would just completely tie up the main thread. Claude was stuck, you were stuck. Your whole workflow would just grind to a halt until that thing was finished. That whole bottleneck, it's gone. A simple keyboard shortcut, Control-B, sends whatever process you're running straight to the background. You're freed up instantly. This lets you run your server, your tests, whatever you want, while you keep on coding and talking with Claude without missing a beat. And the whole time Claude is in the background, monitoring what's happening in that task, fully aware of its status. And here's the real magic in all of that. Because Claude is watching that background task, if your server crashes, it already has the logs. It has the full context. You don't have to copy and paste 100 lines of error messages anymore. You can just say, hey, can you debug what just happened? And it already knows exactly what you're talking about. So let's just recap for a second. We haven't just learned 5 separate little tips here. What we've actually done is outline a completely new kind of superpowered workflow from start to finish. It all starts with using dynamic models to save credits without losing quality. Then you use that custom status line to stay focused and informed. You give Claude smarter, scoped rules to get better results. You ship secure code with total confidence using the automated security review. And then you tie it all together with background tasks for a completely seamless, uninterrupted workflow.
These undocumented features really do open up a whole new level of power and efficiency. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with it? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.